Hey, this is Oops, All Ghost Rob, your host here. We have another live guest here to share their paranormal stories. I have my friend here, Matt. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad, man. How about yourself?
Pretty good. We found you on Facebook, and you were open to a few stories where there was even one with pagan god around. Is there a story you'd like to start with?
Honestly, I'll open with my first experience back into like paranormal investigation, and kind of opening back up to the fact that I'm a medium, and I have clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience. So just as like a preface to this, I also have several other people that all saw this happen too, and it was quite crazy. The fact that it was this potent. But I used to go to it's a park out in Poplar Hill area, and I had found that there was a very strong connection to the other side of the Vale over that way. Like swings would swing on their own without any wind. I've seen like shadows move across the park, mostly at night. I would see these shadows move across. So we would go out there, and then there was a restaurant that we'd park at because there was a house that had a group of shadows that I would see move around. One time we were out there, this was absolutely wild. I was telling my friends, like, oh yeah, like, you can see the shadows move, and one actually happened to catch it that night. They saw a shadow move. And one of them kind of got frightened and like, oh, like they're not going to hurt us or anything, are they? And I said, no, they don't typically ever come across the road. And I had an EMF detector out with me as well, and I was like, I'll even run this to make sure that like they're not over here and touching. And it was almost as if they took it as a challenge, or maybe just like a hey, like I can just prove to you. But it came across the road, it touched me, touched the EMF detector, and then went back across the road. It was absolutely wild, and it terrified my friend, and that friend never came back.
So this like thing literally crossed the road. You could see it cross the road and touch the EMF, and then just went back.
Yep, and it also touched me on the shoulder too. I could feel it. Like it was basically just a single finger, just right on the top of my shoulder.
Jeez Louise, a little bit of FU personality. Like, watch me go.
I think it took what I had said as a challenge, and it was kind of just like, hey, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to come over there, I'm going to touch you, I'm going to touch your device, and then I'm going to walk away.
Jeez. You said you did paranormal investigations. Like, you ever try being testy like that again? Like, see if challenging does kind of, like, make more movement?
Yes, and actually, funny story, it's back at that same area. I've recently started going back. My car got totaled, and I had to take it to the scrapyard and stuff, so it was really hard to get out there, and I had a friend who was like, hey, I want to start getting back into this stuff, and, I know that you're into the witchy side of things, and I'd like to go out and start experiencing it again, so I started going back out there with a group of friends. And just before the winter hit, we had gone out and I had brought an Alice box out with me, as well as an EMF detector. And then I also brought my tarot cards and a couple other odds and ends that I tend to bring out with me. And now I deck myself out now in a lot of stuff for the deities that I align myself with. And I guess out there, a lot of the people that are buried out that way are very religious, and I've started to get a lot of like, why is he here, demon, devil, because Lucifer is one of those deities that I align myself with, and I've started to like interact with that and say like, hey, listen, like he's here, he's not gonna hurt you, but if you want to step forward and say something, like you can step forward and you can say it, you can come into my Alice box, you can tell me what you need to tell me. And a lot of them are like, they're very apprehensive at first, But what's wild is when I get into the state that I get into, and it's never happened to me at this place before, is I would hear several sets of footsteps behind me, like pacing back and forth. And I actually, I don't know how to explain what happened other than the fact that an air bubble around me formed, and anything within, what was it, 2.5 feet of my body was like 7 degrees colder than the rest of the air around everyone else. Someone was basically right on top of me as I was telling them that, like, it's okay, you can, like, it's fine, you can be here. It was wild.
Wow. So, like, you found, like, kind of introducing the deity you follow actually heightened your experience in that situation with people around you.
Yes. It also helped that I do also use a Ouija board. I feel like that probably may help. We hadn't used it, I don't think, at that point. If I'm remembering back correctly, I believe this was before we actually started experiencing stuff with the board. But the activity that I got out of that park was absolutely wild. I wish I could remember the name of the park. It's got like the cenotaph and like the World War II memorial there. It's right in the center of this little small town.
Just is it south where you're located?
It was no, so it was just outside of northwest London.
Northwest London.
It was I want to call it Lobo, but I think I'm wrong with that. It's a little further out than Lobo.
Wow. So you guys brought the Luigi board out. Like, what was the experience with the Luigi board? Like you said, you felt the degrees change in a physical, like, air bubble happen in front of you, or was it like around you?
It was so the center of the bubble was me, and then everything within a like 2-foot radius of me was about 7 degrees colder. And like my friends could feel, they were putting their hand in and out, and they could feel the temperature difference when they would put their hand like in.
Wow. Like, to have the people around you to validate, like, hey, I'm not the crazy one here. Like, you guys feel this too. That must have been wild.
It was insane. None of us knew like what was going on, because I have never experienced that. Outside of meditation sessions, I've never once experienced that.
Has it ever happened again after that kind of experience, or was that like the one and only?
So we had a hard time reconnecting and getting back out there before the winter hit. And then with winter being as harsh as it was and as cold as it was, I don't want to try to bring all my technology out there and, you know, either have numb hands or get something that's not supposed to get wet, end up getting it wet. So we're trying to plan another trip out. We try to space it too, because I know that it takes a lot of energy out of me. I get very, like, I call it an energy hangover. So like, I'll be completely sober the night that we do it, but I will wake up with a hangover like I just drank the entire night.
Jeez. But you're saying, like, you got medium in you. Can you explain a little bit of, like, how that affects you?
Like, more so in my day-to-day life?
Day-to-day, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's day-to-day. I find that I've just gotta kind of live with it, but I've constantly, specifically with the physical touch, I've got things touching me all day. It's usually my shoulders, like on the backside on my shoulder blades. I do also like hear things in my house. Every now and then I'll catch a glimpse of someone in my house. My house is also like well over 150 years old. So it's it's got an energy, and it's got other spirits here that obviously have been here much longer than myself. But honestly, though, I think the part that I've really learned to kind of deal with is I can't go past a cemetery without some sort of like just overwhelming feeling Typically, it's in the bottom of my spine, and it feels like someone is just physically trying to rip my spine out of my body. It's again, I don't know what causes it. I don't know, like, if someone's trying to catch my attention, or if it's just because there's so much spiritual energy in a cemetery that it's just overwhelming for my body. But yeah, it's wild driving past cemeteries. I know one's coming up because I start to not be able to sit still in the car.
Jeez, so like that's got to be like physically. Is it like excruciating pain, or is it just like a radar? You're saying like
No.
it's like your spine's getting ripped out of your back.
It's more so. It's almost like a pressure. It's not quite like it's not a pain. It's just it's like it's moving, like it's being pulled without the pain portion of someone pulling your spine out.
Okay. Dang. Yeah, wow. And then you want to bring Ouija boards out. Have you ever had any, like, how do I put it? I've never used a Ouija board before. Like, what kind of experiences have you had with the Ouija boards? Has there been any, like, physical movements with it? Like, what does the glide-in feel like?
I've used it a handful of times. I'm still coming to terms with it myself. I've done a lot of meditation sessions into like speaking with my deities and stuff, making sure that like I am protected. That the board is safe for me to use, and they've told me themselves that I've got the knowledge and whatnot to be able to use it safely. As well as like I should be able to keep something from coming through that shouldn't. The gliding is interesting. It feels like it's being pulled. So I've done it 3 times now, and it feels almost like someone's taking the tip of the planchette and they're pulling it along. It's very, very weird. There is a weight to it. Even though your fingers are barely touching the planchette, it almost feels like if you were to like let your fingers relax even more, it would yank it out from underneath your hand.
Wow, like a full like physical tug there, you know, like you kind of see it and it's like maybe you can feel your friends pushing it or whatever, but to hear people on the aspect of like feeling the tip of it being glide keeps me away from it a little bit longer, if you know what I mean.
No, I definitely understand you. It's one of those things that's definitely really misunderstood, and Hollywood has definitely played it out as this big, giant, scary thing, when in reality, through what I've learned through my teachings and through like my own personal experience, is using a Ouija board is no different than using a pendulum for divination or using tarot cards. It's just another tool to speak with spirits. I don't personally believe that unless there's intent, that there's any real danger using a Ouija board. A lot of what I believe comes from intent. So unless I intend to conjure something a little less savory, it shouldn't happen.
I hear ya. That brings up, you said one of the deities you bring up is Lucifer, and that's another one that Hollywood and a lot of stories bring up. Like, what do you find with the misconception as you're using it as something to communicate and protection?
I find that he is really misunderstood. I've actually seen like physical body forms of him. And he's not scary. He doesn't have that like demonish look. He very much shows himself as like a regular man. I usually actually see him in like a leather jacket. He kind of looks like a metalhead or a punk. He doesn't really have that like evil look to him. He just looks like a run-of-the-mill metalhead, essentially. I've seen Lilith with him too, and she's like really pretty. She's always got a really nice dress on. She's got really nice long brown hair. But as for like how he actually acts, he's like a bro. He's honestly one of the most relaxed deities that I find myself dealing with. You know, he essentially is just one of the boys. I can come to him with basically anything, and he's willing to talk and listen. And he also really loves tequila. I find myself offering him. Oh yeah, I find myself offering him shots of tequila all the time.
And he accepts this.
Oh, he loves it. He asks specifically for tequila. When I give him offerings now, he prefers the tequila.
Wow. So these are like full on, almost like conversation stuff you're having with all this around. How does this get like brought up? You know, what was the first instance, if you remember it?
Oh, okay. So this is a wild story. This is probably like the most wild to date. I'll preface it with this. So I was with my wife and my sister-in-law. It was her baby shower. We were out of town. It was middle of summer, like almost 40 degrees with the humidity. We were outside on our feet all day. And by the time we got home, I was absolutely beat. You know, like kind of almost passing out from just being so hot all day. And I was sitting on the couch, and this was, I want to say, like 3 or 4 weeks of someone very consistently touching my shoulder. And it got to a point where like it was so excessive and so consistent that I was like, okay, like who is this? I need you to tell me who you are. And at 11 o'clock at night, I had said this, and all of a sudden I am now full of energy out of nowhere, and I just instantly get the urge that I need to go for a walk. So I get up and I tell my wife, like, hey, I know it's late as hell and we've been, you know, doing a lot of stuff all day and in the heat and we're both beat, but I just asked who's touching me, and now all of a sudden I need to go for a walk. So I go out, and for the first time ever, this sensation follows me out of the house, and this deity now follows me outside the house. And from what I could tell, it was directing me based on physical touch on like my shoulder blades, and it directed me down to Victoria Park, where there was food and drink festival going on. And I had no idea anything was going on. I had no idea like people would actually be in Victoria Park, like at all. And as soon as I hit the park, I'm flooded with images of witchcraft, and there's something witchy here, or there's a witch here, or something. I need to go somewhere to speak to someone. And I kind of walk into Victoria Park, and I come up to where the jewelry stand is, and it's at like its peak. It is the strongest I have felt it. It literally feels like someone's putting their whole hand into my shoulder and just pushing in. And I thought to myself, I was like, okay, well, this is probably it. But, you know, with my head being filled with all this, I need to find the actual, like, witchcraft area. And I walk through the whole park, nothing. And then as I start to come back, the feeling starts to come back really strong. And I was wearing a Kill Switch Engage tank top. This is a little bit of an important piece. And then I walk up to the stand, and the woman behind the counter looks at me and she goes, "Does your shirt say witch?" And it was the only part of my shirt she saw was the word witch, which again was kind of weird, almost coincidence. And I said, "Yeah, no, it says Kill Switch Engage." I said, "But like, do you happen to be a witch?" And she goes, "No." And then she points across the counter and goes, "But she is."
What?
And there was a lady. Yeah, there was a lady standing there. And she heard her say that, and she's like, "I'm a what?" And she goes, "Well, you're a witch," he asked. And she says, "Oh, okay." And then she asked me kind of like why I wanted to know, and I explained it to her. And I said, like, I know it's absolutely wild and completely out of the blue. And she's like, no. That's the goddess Hecate. She's been trying to get a hold of you, and she's now brought you to me. And then she explained that she used to be the head priestess in a coven that was dedicated to Hecate. She's a Greek goddess. And to top it all off is a full moon, and she's the goddess of the moon. So it was an absolutely wild night. I then allowed her into my life at that point, and she's been here since. She's actually currently like all over my shoulder blade. Most days she is. But
Wow.
when I got home, it was wild. And then I got home, and I started talking to my wife about it. And I guess because I was talking like about her, my whole arm lit up. Like it started at my shoulder, and then it slowly worked its way down my arm, and it was so, as in like her. I call it lighting up. It's when they start touching me like really heavy. It felt like she was slowly starting to put more of her weight into me with her palm almost, and it spread and it went all the way down my arm. And it was so potent that when I asked my wife if she would put her hand over top of my shoulder, like not touching it, but like over top of that shoulder, it actually radiated up her arm and it went through her as well. It's like she could feel it.
Wow, and this was talking about the deity of yours, correct me if I'm wrong, Hecate?
Hecate.
Hecate.
Or Hecate. I'm still a little fuzzy on the pronunciation. She is Greek, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, she's great too. She's very motherly, I find. She will let you sink or swim, but she will still kind of guide you in the right direction. She's a little bit less of like a chill, relax. Like she will correct you for doing wrong if you do wrong. But she's great. she's by far my favorite that I work with.
Wow, in what aspects do you find like she corrects you doing right and wrong?
So she's the mother of witchcraft. So a lot of like my witchcraft stuff, if I do something wrong, she will essentially let me know. I usually get it through dreams, or I'll get it through just like physical sensations that like, hey, don't do that. I wrote a spell a while ago, and then I got a dream that it completely fizzled, and I was like, okay, that's her telling me that it's not going to work.
Oh dang! So
yeah,
like getting these visions, and they probably how do I word this? Like they probably didn't start until that whole situation. Like the fact that like you were drawn to this person, and now you have these kind of like dreams. They must be so different to have like this aspect of, oh, I did something wrong in the aspect of this deity.
I think she's been with me most of my life, and I'm only just now realizing because I grew up getting like premonitions, as in like I would dream something like weeks, days, months before it would happen, and then it would happen, and I go, oh, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I've seen this before, and I would astral project in my sleep without knowing it, and I've actually recently started doing it again. Most recently on the blood moon. I should have, and I completely forgot that the blood moon was happening. And like, you know, that's my bad on my part for that. And I, you know, made it up to her and gave her an offering the following night and apologized. But on the night that it happened, and I didn't know that it was happening, I went to sleep, and I ended up what I thought was dreaming, and I was motionless in a forest, and I had like the most beautiful view of the blood moon going over, and it was gorgeous. I talked to one of like my teachers that I had been learning from, and I explained the whole dream, and they're like, no. She astral projected you in your sleep, so you would have a good view of the moon. Like she wanted you to see it.
She like sent you a vision where like wanted to see it, and do you know why she wanted you to see it? You kind of like clue it together, or?
I think it has to do with her being like I think it was just like because she's the goddess of the moon, and it's a blood moon, and it's special, it's sacred. She wanted me to realize that I had missed it, or maybe she just wanted me to see it. But yeah, she essentially, the easiest way to describe it I would find is she sent my soul to the soul of a tree so that I could see it, is kind of how I would word that.
Wow. Now, with the astral projection, like what kind of stuff do you normally get into when you feel like you're in a state of it?
I don't dabble in it too much. A lot of it I've lost in memory because a lot of it was when I was younger. That was probably like my most recent experience with it. I do want to try to get back into it and try to experience it again. But doing a controlled astral projection is a lot more difficult than a deity just making it happen while you're sleeping. It's a very long and lengthy process to learn how to actually get your body to astral project.
Yeah, I read a little bit on it, and yeah, it's quite the like meditation that I've been reading to kind of hit that state on purpose.
Oh yeah, it takes a lot of focus, and with having children around, it's not very easy to get into that focused point. And then by the time I actually go to want to, be able to do it because they're in bed, I'm usually exhausted, and if I go into a meditative state, I'm just going to sleep.
Right. And now, to loop back into the spirits and the park, have you gone back to that park where you experienced the shadow figures that crossed the road?
As of recently, no. We've been trying to plan a day to get back now that the weather's kind of stabilized and it's much warmer. We want to, because we've got some very interesting details out there. I had some names like shot out at me from the Alice box, and then I went back and did some research on the actual park itself, and I found those names on the grave or the memorial that's out front of the park.
Wow! So you actually found the names.
I had no idea going in. Yes. Oh yeah. And one of the names was the mother of one of the names that was on the memorial.
So, it was feeding you the name, like you were just getting like the last name of the person, or
the first names. I was asking like who I was talking to, and it was almost as if I was talking to a crowd because it would just start randomly spitting names out at me.
Oh man!
Now, on top of all of the light and airy stuff that's there is also a darkness that I've found there. And it's really been trying to attract us because what I believe from what I infer from what I've seen and what I can feel, and then what I've got through like my instruments, there's a witch there that's currently actually binding something, kind of almost trapping it in like a cell almost, and it wants out. Among all the other things that we get, I've been getting a lot of "come over here," "come see me," "I'm over here," and then it'll actually direct attention physically with sounds. I've got wolves howling, I've got coyotes chirping, all coming from the same spot, trying to draw my attention out to where it is. And then almost immediately when it says, "come over here," I get another "don't," or like "leave," or "please don't be here," or please don't come over. So it's almost like two spirits are fighting with each other for my attention to either make me come over or to not come over. And I think the one that wants me to go over there is something that wants freed.
Wants to be freed. Wow. And you're saying like,
yep.
A witch is like binding something there. How do you find something like that out?
It's mostly I'm inferring most of it based on like what I've seen and felt. It's not something guaranteed, but based on the fact that it wants me to come over, and then there's something else that doesn't want me to come over, and then I've got like little hints of like trapped or stuck. Those kind of give me the idea that like someone is keeping something here for a reason. Like it should not be allowed to roam is kind of what I get.
Wow. I couldn't imagine going to a park and like just getting this kind of happen to you. You know, feeling something bound and locked up, and it's trying to like pull you that way.
Oh, it's absolutely wild, but there is a lot of history in that area, and it is a much older area. So it's definitely not a super huge surprise that there's stuff there that's trying to break free that's been there for a while.
Do you find with like your deity connection that they also give you hints on this stuff?
Not as much. I don't find that they really like guide me in the spiritual world sense when it comes to this kind of stuff, because I've already got such like a vast connection with the other side, and the fact that I'm very intuitive, and I already find it very easy to like communicate, and I go out of my way to go do these investigations. I think they kind of just like sit back and let me take the wheel. I feel that I bring them along more so for protection sense, because a lot of things don't like to kind of play with the two that I bring along with me specifically. I find that most spirits fear them, so it's very nice to bring them along and have them just kind of as almost bodyguards in a sense.
Right. Man, has like anything else happened to you in that place besides just being called over, or is it just usually like shows and stay away?
In that area specifically, that most of what I get is just that. I've never had anything like try to follow me or anything more so try to attack. I think the closest I've ever been to something actually getting close to me was the footsteps that I heard at that park, and they were like feet away from me.
Feet away from you. Wow. With this too, you're saying like you've done paranormal investigations, which you go back to this place with your box and that. Has there been other places there that you found with your investigations? Any other stories you'd like to share?
Investigation wise, I've never done like too many. The only other one that I really had that was a big investigation, we exited the building very quickly. This was long before any of my pagan stuff. This was while I was still in high school and still trying to experiment with different tools. There was an abandoned house up over in Hyde Park that I got like the sense that something was there. And I didn't quite know what I was dealing with at this point. And all I had was an EMF, and I had an EVP as well. And when we went in, I could hear footsteps in the basement, but it was like someone was stepping with one foot and then dragging the other foot behind them. So like maybe like a dead leg or something. There was no one else in the building. And I started to try to communicate with it, and my EMF detector was going absolutely wild. And we went through what we could of the building. And then I heard a dripping sound and went into the bathroom, and in what looked like blood written on the mirror was, "Get the F out of this house."
On the mirror? Was it already like established there?
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, I hadn't been there when I had passed by the bathroom the first time. So we very quickly left the house because, yeah, I didn't know what I was dealing with at this point. I was probably like 15 or 16, and very oblivious to the spiritual world. I was just trying to understand my mediumness and everything else. It was an eye-opening experience. I don't think I touched paranormal for a good like year or two after that. I was very like put off for a minute. And then I started to get back into it pretty heavy after that. And I went out to that park for 2.5 years straight, mostly without any technology. We kind of just went out there, and it was like a bring my friends for a tourist event, and just kind of explaining the things that I seen, because a lot of them were very on the border of whether or not they believed in the paranormal. And then as they started to see more things, they started to really start to believe in it. The big one, though, was one night I was taking my friends out that way, and it was kind of like fall into like winter. The temperature outside was definitely sub-zero, and I had the heat on in my car. And preface, never had any heat issues with the car, like either before this or after this. This is the one and only time this event ever happened. We started to pull up to like a corner that I didn't fully recognize on the road that I've taken many times. And I start to get that feeling that I described in the bottom of my spine, and I couldn't sit still, and I was in the driver's seat, and I just couldn't sit still. It was so bad. And then the air in my car started to go ice cold to the point where we could see our breath, and I had the heat on full blast. And everyone else could feel it. Like, it wasn't just me that felt it. Like, the whole car felt the air shift to an ice cold. The air coming out of the vents was ice cold, and everything was set to like full heat and full fan. And then as we start to like apex the corner, my back now feels like it's actually being pulled out. And there's a hitchhiker on the side of the road, and everyone in my car freaks out. And I'm trying to keep my composure, because I'm A, driving the vehicle, and like B, I don't want to freak anyone out, because like I know the most about this stuff at this point. So I'm trying to just keep my composure. We kept driving, and there was no turnoffs anywhere. It was just a one straight road out in the county. I drove about 1 kilometer down the road, and then I decided, okay, well, let's drive back, and let's see if it happens again, just like to kind of test it out and see if maybe it was just a fluke. As we start driving back, the heat is fine, the air is fine, my back is fine. The corner that we passed is not there. Like, I could not locate the corner. There's no hitchhiker, nothing.
So that physical spot was gone. Like, you couldn't find the location where all you guys felt that.
Yeah. My only theory is that I drove through a portal.
A whole portal? Like, what kind of portal do you think it was?
It was definitely something to the other side of the veil. As to like what specifically, I don't know. Or like what would have happened if I picked up that hitchhiker? Not any idea. But I don't think that he was of our plane. I think he was of a different plane.
Wow, that reminds me of you ever watch that show Love, Death, and Robots?
Oh yeah.
There was like a episode on it where like the truck drivers know of these voids, and it just like instantly pinged in my brain that that's crazy. I could like, has that ever happened to you since? Like, you ever feel like you kind of went into a void like that?
No. I haven't gone out that late in a very long time. That was at witching hour. That was at 3 a.m. when like everything is at its peak. I haven't gone out that late since, and especially not with kids, because I got to be up early in the morning, and you know I would go out until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning doing paranormal investigations and stuff. I've never tried to recreate it, simply because it was the one event that actually like scared, like it put fear into me. Like I have no idea what happened. I can't explain it. I just know that it happened, and it sounds insane. But like I have other people that witnessed it, and I have people that look at me and they're like, are you okay? Like, do you have mental issues? Like, were you on like psychedelics or something? But no, I've got like 5 people that witnessed it.
Wow. To have that like actual, what's the word for it? Almost like proof. Like those people put validation to what you're feeling when they're experiencing it as well.
No, 100%, and it's kind of a solid too that I had people that experienced it with me, because I don't think anyone would believe a single word that came out of my mouth telling that story.
No kidding. And to have like someone to talk to about it as well, you know, like what happened. Like you can't, when you go through this stuff, you know, like if people have never experienced it, like they really have like a question to it, you know, like not quite the belief to it. And it sounds like
Oh,
you bring
100%.
people and they experience it themselves when they're skeptic. So that's got to be
Oh, 100%.
wow. So you
And I
had
mean,
sorry, go ahead.
they describe people like myself as a beacon or a magnet. Depending on who you talk to, it varies in response. But essentially, in the spirit world, people like me are actually seen as a beacon of light, and spirits are drawn to us. And they can feed energy off of me to like feed into themselves. And there are times where I allow it, specifically with like family or spirits that I am familiar with and I know who they are. If they want to speak to me, hold on, please, babe. If they want to speak to me, I'll allow them to feed off my energy a little bit, as long as they're not like greedy with it, so that they can do the things that I'm asking them to do. But that was wild.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had an experience like that.
Oh wow. Just your last two stories there, like I've had goosebumps the entire time.
I got two more that are at least like still in my memory. Again, a lot of these I've lost to memory because they were either little, or you know, they're not nearly as impressive as some of the other stories I have. I went out to a ghost town. It's called Duncrief. It's just outside of northwest London, and it's known as like one of the most haunted ghost towns around London. It's had a lot of like natural disasters, a lot of floods, a lot of fires. A lot of people have died since like the early 1800s in this small town, and it's so haunted that at night, if you turn your headlights off in your car, you can actually see orbs physically moving, and like I could see like full body apparitions of people like walking back and forth across the road, walking up and down the road. It was crazy. The amount of activity there was crazy. Now a lot of it seemed to be residual, like it wasn't very it wasn't intelligent for the most part. It was just a lot of residual energy. Like, you know, these people would walk these paths every day doing their day-to-day activities. There was a couple that kind of, you know, they interacted with the fact that they saw me, and I think they knew that I could see them because I locked eyes with like a good 2 or 3 apparitions. Nothing really ever happened. It was just sort of like locking eyes and kind of almost realizing that we can both see each other. But what was really wild is, again, like this was during a time where I didn't understand a whole lot about paranormal. I dropped my car into neutral and tried to startle my friend because we had heard stories about like there's a place outside London somewhere where spirits will make it so that even drive your car will act like it's in neutral. So I threw it in neutral to try to freak them out, and revved the car a couple times. Went, oh my god, the car can't move. And I think one of the spirits there took offense to it, and like massive offense. They didn't like it. I went to start driving away, and now this is on one of those old school county roads where it's kind of designed on a hump so that if you kind of fall asleep at the wheel, it pushes you down into the curb. And my car also had an alignment issue that pulled to the left side, or the right side, sorry. It pulled to the right side. So theoretically speaking, my car should at all times be going towards the ditch, and I should be fighting it to get away from the ditch. Well, I heard like a horse galloping, and I was actually fighting to stay off the hump. Like I was being pushed up and over the left side when all bets are telling me I should be fighting to go left as opposed to fighting to go right. I'm pretty sure that it was trying to push me up and off the road.
Up and off the road. So, like, your car usually wants to veer one way, and it starts feeling like it's going the other way, almost like to get you off the road.
Yeah, and the county road as well was designed in such a way that it also kind of gives you a little bit of a push to the right. I was somehow being pushed up and over that.
Wow.
Yeah, I never went back after that. That experience shut me down at Duncreef for a while. I've been wanting to go back and like apologize, but I have not had a chance to go back.
Yeah, just that like irk feeling, like it almost feels like it wants to put you in danger, or like out of danger. I wouldn't want to go back either.
No, there was 100% the intent there to put me into a dangerous situation, and I think it was because I will admit I was being a jackass, and I definitely was, poking at them and making fun, and I think they didn't like that at all. And a lot of the spirits out there from like the 1800s, so they're very, very serious. I think there was definitely a misunderstanding, and I need to go back and apologize for it.
Do you find after that situation like there was any like home brought residue from it? Like it sounds like you quite have a draw to go back and apologize.
No. There's definitely nothing that followed me home from that. And I've also moved around a couple times since that event. I don't think anything was mad enough to follow me, but it was definitely mad enough to chase me out of town.
Yeah, literally like, don't get cocky, kid. Wow.
Pretty much. And I was definitely that cocky young kid that didn't know any better, didn't know any different, and with very limited experience with actually dealing with the paranormal, that I thought I could get away with it, and no, I in fact could not.
Oh, jeez. No kidding.
Yeah.
Butt right in mouth there.
I've since matured a lot with the paranormal. I am very different now. I will gently provoke, more so for actual like evidence purposes. I won't provoke to the point where they're actually mad at me. It's more so like, oh, I bet you can't do this, or like, hey, I'm not sure if you can. Do you think you could repeat after me? I will never, ever do what I did again.
I guess you kind of gotta live and learn it, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a learning curve when dealing with the paranormal, for sure.
Even in life, like I like to be a little cheeky, and when it bites you in the butt, I just had that. What was it? 2 weekends ago. And it just sucks when it happens. It's like, I just want to be a little cheeky.
Oh, absolutely. I think the worst part is you can't see the reaction. Like a lot of the times you can't see them. You can't see how they're reacting to it until they react, and you still don't physically see them. You just see what they're doing.
Mm. Yeah, especially your car being
I think that's
full.
the worst part for me, yeah. Oh, absolutely. That was, something that I didn't think was possible at the time. That now that I know it's possible, that event alone chilled me right out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. You were saying you had another story for us. Would you still like to share?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, since we've been talking, there's two that go with this one. So as I mentioned before, my house is very old. I've actually done a lot of research into it through doing investigations in my own house. I live like kind of in the heart of London, like near downtown. So it's all like, pre-1900s homes. I've found the building that I live in on maps from like the late 1800s. Like it's old. And now to go into this, I have no validity for this. This is just what I've discovered, and I've been trying to do research into it. But I've had spirits approach me in this house. So I've discovered on through investigative means and whatnot through the library and stuff. This house exists on maps as early as the late 1800s. So old, a very, very old house. I've had 3 spirits approach me in this house individually. One is a young boy. I believe he's anywhere between 5 and 10. That's probably about the oldest he would be, is about 10. He's never actually given me his age. I'm just kind of going off of what the other 2 are saying because they're siblings. Then there's a young girl. She's more so 12 to 15, somewhere in there. And then there's another older boy. I'm gonna assume between 18 and 20. I've only talked to him once. I have absolutely no validity to any of this yet. I've been trying to do research into it. But they claim that they're buried in the basement.
Buried in the basement.
This house used to be a butcher shop. My actual apartment didn't exist. I don't believe that I'm part of the original building. And if I am, it's only a piece of this apartment that's a part of the original building, so they have a hard time coming up here. As well as, if any of this existed, they weren't allowed up here. They were foster children from what I've gathered from them. But I believe that one of them died in an accident at the butcher shop, and then the other 2, I believe, were not accidental death. I do believe, from what I've gathered, their life was taken. But they've pointed out their graves in the basement. I've used my EVP detector, or EMF detector, sorry, and I've had them interacting with it down there, and there's no electronics in the basement that would set it off. The only things that are down there is a couple of lights, a washer, and a dryer, and I've done experimenting to see if any of it sets it off, and the only time that any of it sets it off is when it's on. And I've put my EMF in front of where I suspect their graves are, and they'll go absolutely wild. All the way up to the maximum the detector goes to, and then it'll just sit there until I walk away.
And these are the locations you believe they're buried at?
Yes. Again, though, I have no validity to it because I've not done any research into it. I've just got the experiences, my wife has seen it, and then my neighbor's seen it. My neighbor was also here. I originally found them through divination through pendulum. I kind of on purpose left it open-ended and was just asking if someone was in the house because I could kind of get a sense that someone was in here. And eventually the little boy was a little nervous, but he did eventually start answering. And then through talking to him, I found his sister, and then his sister would communicate, and I believe that he's just really shy. He prefers not to talk to me. He prefers to talk to one of the 2 girls. I think it's just because I'm a man, and he's, a young boy. He might just be scared of the man. And the 2 women are more motherly because they're both mothers, so he would go to them.
It's your wife and your neighbor, right?
My neighbor. Yeah. He's more willing to talk to them. He's since opened up. I've done a lot of speaking with him, and he has since opened up and actually started talking to me. But for a while, the only communication I could get was his sister. And I have their names written down somewhere. I don't remember off the top of my head where I put it or what their names are. But I have got their names, and I have them written down. I've spoken to them through the spirit board too. They're a little more reluctant with it, and I think it's because they had a more of a Catholic upbringing. And it would track with the time period with the early 1900s, the late 1800s. The Christianity and Catholicism were really big in the area back then. But yeah, they're in here. I think I sometimes hear her downstairs, walking across my floor. I don't think she was allowed any further than that. And I believe it's hard for her to even get up here because the portion of the building to get up in here isn't original.
Remodeled and resurfaced kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a portion inside the building that you can tell is the old exterior of the building. There's a wall that goes through my apartment, and it's all cinder block. It's the only wall in the house that's all cinder block, and I'm pretty sure that it's the old exterior of the building.
Wow. And communicating to them, you say you communicate quite a few times with them. Like, what does that normally, like, entail? Like, is it kind of you meditating? Is it you bringing the Ouija board out?
So it varies between tarot cards, pendulum divination, and then I'll also use the EMF detector. I don't tend to communicate with, like, just normal spirits through meditation. I try to reserve that specifically for my deities, and that's like our time. I like to have like I call it special time with them, because it's more so dedicated specifically to them. Okay, and I feel that allows me to have like that personal time.
Right.
But yeah, they also were really hit and miss with my tarot cards at first too. I use it's the occult tarot deck. So instead of like a regular tarot deck and its depictions of the different cards, each of the cards on mine is a demon, and then it's got the demon's name, the demon's sigil, the word of the demon, and any other like image that relates to that demon.
So
I work on a much darker basis than most.
I mean, it sounds like you put a lot of research into this stuff, because like a lot of it is like visions and stuff happening to you. So I bet it does hit like a darker edge on it on multiple occasions.
Oh, it absolutely does. And working with this, I find you have to have that. You can't be afraid to work with the darkness, and you can't be afraid of the darkness, because it exists. It very much so exists. I believe in different ways than what most religions or other people would have you believe. Like, I don't believe that demons are evil. I believe that they are beings of knowledge and power, and you know, they can respect us as long as we respect them. But you know, working with them is it can be iffy. You know, you really gotta rely on something you can't see. But I don't believe that they have like a drive in them to that you know, they want to hurt humans, that they do all this stuff on purpose. Nor do I believe that they will you know, take over your body and possess you. At least in my belief, they don't have a reason to, because they have access to the same powers we do. So they have no reason to possess a human.
That's fair. You know, like as you grow, you realize things aren't like really black and white. You know, even dogs, where we have that physical. Sorry, go ahead.
It's very much shades. There is evil in everything. You know, like you or I, we have a spectrum, and we wake up day to day on a different spot on that spectrum of how good or evil we're being that day. I believe it's a balance. I don't believe that one particular being is just evil. There are some exceptions to that, such as the spirit that the spirit that has possessed like the Annabelle doll, the spirits that possess like specific things that throughout history have been known to be evil. Those I believe are specifically evil, but I also don't believe those are demons. I believe that those are something completely different.
Like a whole nother specter of something. Like demons are just what casually we
Yes.
believe in the spectrum it is, but there's got to be other classes and stuff like that. Like we already see so many different monsters and lores.
Oh, absolutely, and it could be anything, and they have that constant evil drive in them.
Yeah, that really makes you think, you know, like just the roundabouts of it, because yeah, there's got to be many different specters or stuff out there that just want to sit and be complacent. And what is it that drives for the evilness of such objects, right? Like the
100%.
doll is coming back around.
Oh yeah, and I believe that plays into like the whole balance. Like there has to be that balance, and it's the balance exists in everything. Except for them. They're the ones that balance out the rest. But they're hard to describe, and I don't even know what word I'd use to describe those things. But I've never come across one. I do really want to go visit like Zach Bagans' museum. I feel like that could be a wild ride for a medium like myself. And I want to go visit like the Conjuring house. I want to go visit like the real Annabelle doll, all that kind of stuff. I want to be able to go visit these things. I don't know if my body can handle it. I can mentally handle it. I don't know if my body can handle it.
Yeah, it's like an energy around the evil people. You know, like how they present it in movies or that, or like you probably get a feeling with someone where it's like, I don't really want to be around that because there's something about it. I feel like those objects would have kind of the same feeling. Well, Matt, we've been talking for about an hour, and I've been loving each story and encounters, especially like learning about all the stuff you have about witchcraft and these deities of yours that you've aligned with. Like, it's really been a learning experience with you.
Hell yeah. It's been a lot of. I do have one more very short one if you're open for it.
Yeah, for sure.
This one's kind of more heartwarming. It's nothing like super intense. When I was 23, I had learned at work that my grandmother had passed away, and I was very, very close with her. And when I started getting back into it, I started getting a feeling that her and my grandfather had been around because they like to come visit the kids. And I've since learned that they do come around. They do come visit the kids. I got a set of cat balls as like investigation tools for a Christmas gift for my mother. And I decided that I was going to start testing them out to see like if I can get them to actually work. And for weeks I hadn't got them to work. And then I started doing pendulum divination.
Sorry, what are cat balls?
So they're quite literally cat toys, and they're designed so that when a cat touches them, they'll start lighting up. They don't have like a timer or anything. It's literally physical movement has to happen for these things to go off, and then they just light up, and they light up for a good like 15-20 seconds to try to catch the eye of the cat and keep the cat playing with it. And they're widely used by paranormal investigators. It's actually how I learned about them was by watching like Sam and Colby and like Zach Bagans and all that stuff. I learned that cat balls are a very viable tool to use, and they're very cheap. They're cents to buy 2 of them. So I set one up on my nightstand and then set one up on my bed. And I was far enough away, and I tested it. I started like moving around and like leaning forward and kind of like bouncing the bed a little bit, and I couldn't set it off. So I did some divination and started talking to my grandmother, and she said that she thinks she has the energetic strength to set it off. So I put the pendulum away, and I started just openly speaking to her in the house. And I started like showing her how to set off the cat ball. I would like put my hand above it and say like you touch the top, or you can touch the bed. I sat back and started talking to her again, and then it went off.
And it went off.
And I thought it was a fluke. So the one on the bed went off, and it wasn't me. I had tested that like I wasn't gonna set it off, and I kept talking, and I kept trying to get her to set it off again, and she set it off again, and I was like, okay, well, third time's a charm. Two times could be a fluke. Third time's a charm. So I kept going, and this was like over a 45-minute span, and I finally got her to set it off again, but it kept going off. It would not turn off. It was a solid like 60 to 90 seconds of this thing going off. And then I said, okay, well, you can stop touching it now. I super appreciate it. And as soon as I said that, it stopped.
Like instantly stopped.
Yep. Wow. And then I like thanked her. I thanked her for the communication, and I went to go pick up the cat ball. And I had never felt a sensation like this before. She hugged me, and I could feel the warmth of the hug. I could feel her arms. Like I felt her give me a hug.
Wow.
I broke down into tears. I will fully admit that I cried for like a good 10 minutes after that.
Yeah, like the feeling of getting back your loved one for that instant of physical touch. Like that's gotta be a wild ride of emotions.
It was wild. The whole time after I figured out it was my grandmother, I was choking back tears, and I was like communicating with her and stuff. That the hug was what sent me. After that it was tears.
Oh man, to regain that experience. Like I don't have too much experience with like family and love members to pass away, but I can imagine that's got to be a really warm feeling.
It was very warm, and the hug felt like an actual, like a physical person was hugging me. Like it was very warm, and you could feel her arms and her hand, and it was very surreal to be able to feel that.
And do you find like your kids notice this presence as you're saying, like they come to visit in that? Do they ever like share anything to be like, I think grandma's here?
Not as far as I can tell. My youngest is far too young to understand. And then my oldest is not biologically mine, so I don't know if he's actually got any gifts. My two biological daughters, though, I'm almost guaranteed that they, as well, are sensitive. I do like a meditation where I ground myself, and then I picture the energies around me. I've got as far as like making an image of the house across the street in my mind. Like I can see it energetically. And from my youngest daughter's room, I see a pillar of light, which tells me that she is also a medium.
Wow. So when you go into the state of meditation, like you see her as a pillar of light.
Yep.
Wow.
It's I come from like Scottish Norse roots, and from what I've determined, there's a lot of witchcraft in my family, like powerful witchcraft in my family.
That brings down. So, do your parents ever talk about that? Like you said, your mom kind of helped with investigation tools. She bought you the cat balls.
My mom is the only one. My mom's the only one out of my parents that actually like has experienced. Actually, no, I can't say that. My dad's recently started to experience. Since I've started coming over and investigating into my grandfather being there, so like my mom's dad. One of the things that says that he's around is the smell of like fresh sweet tobacco, because he used to roll his own cigarettes. My dad's never experienced anything before, and then all of a sudden, a couple months ago, he started to smell sweet tobacco and asked if he was there, and it got like stronger. So he could also, like, I'd say he's had an experience. My mom's had things move around the house. My grandfather's been, humorous, and he knocked over a bottle of scent beads in the laundry room, and whenever this happens, she smells the smell of sweet tobacco, and she knows that he's around. But yeah, she very much so believes.
Oh wow! Especially like to have that, like kind of entity attached to you, like the scent of him, right? That'd be the scent of the tobacco.
Yep.
Man, that is nice.
It's crazy how. I also used to have my my cat, after she passed away, I would feel her get up on the bed and come curl up with me.
Your cat. I just had a guest who had the same kind of experience. His old childhood cat passed away, and he could feel her for weeks come back on the bed there.
I still feel her, like, to this day, and it's been 10 plus years since she passed away, and I don't even live in that house anymore, and she still comes up onto the bed.
So even moving away, like, it still has attached to you where you can still sense that cat. Do you think that's part of, like, your medium powers or your beacon there?
I kind of almost think that she's attached to me in a familiar sense. Like, I think there's more than just the fact that I'm a beacon. I think there's some sort of spiritual connection there.
Yeah, you're a cat, right? So just like your grandparents,
yeah,
there's got to be more of an attachment. I was just curious with on top of your powers too. Maybe that's how it can still attach to you being a decade now. Like, that is a long time to still feel the presence of such a spirit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely wild. I've become I'm part of two bands, and I've become the resident ghost dude for both bands. They love the stories too. I did a small investigation for my guitarist when he lived in his old house, and I wish that I did more, because what I got was very inconclusive. Basically what I got was the spirit just didn't want to talk. It wanted to be left alone. His house was also very old. It hid in the cold cellar. And I brought an EMF there one day to speak to it, and it didn't go off at all while I was speaking until I asked if it wanted me to leave it alone, and it just spiked all the way up to full, and it like flickered around the full for a bit, and that was it. That's the only communication I got out of the spirit, was just leave me alone.
Leave you alone, and from there it's just like, all right, I'll respect that boundary.
No, absolutely. I respected the hell out of that. After that, I left it alone. It would still watch, and it was still there when we were jamming at his place, but it just didn't want to communicate. It just wanted to be left alone.
Yeah. Is there anything like you would suggest to people who want to like dabble and investigate their house? Would you have any tips for them?
A big one is when you start, immediately set the boundary that like you don't want them to like interrupt the flow of your daily life, because once you start that line of communication, they're just going to want to communicate with you. They're not going to stop. So if you set that boundary, like when I'm communicating with you, it's fine. Anything aside from that, please don't try to get my attention. I know you're here, and I'll speak with you, but during my time, that's my time. And you need to set that boundary. I will straight up tell them to get out of my house. Like, if they're bothering me, I'll be like, this is my space, please get out.
To leave. Yeah, and it sounds like it really works. Like, the words. Do you find even, like, thinking of it kind of helps too? Or do you need to have that strong, like, vocal... Sorry.
Can you take the screwdriver, Jackson, and go unlock it, please?
Yeah, even thinking of it.
Sorry, my kid needs the bathroom door.
No worries. We can end the call here. Like, we've been talking for an hour here.
Okay. Well, it was very nice to talk to you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you hopping on. I learned lots. I hope you enjoy the rest of the holiday, man.
You as well.
All right.
If you if you ever want to talk spirits, I'd always open.
I'll have to hit you up. There was a lot of interesting topics there that I'm more curious about to understand. So I'll definitely be hitting you up later. I'll let you go.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, and stay spooky, Matt.
You as well. Have a good day, man.
You too. Bye now. Oh man, so that was Matt here, and wow, there was so much to learn. Like the astral projection, you know, I'm very curious about that. Even for myself, I think I've had a few situations where I think my body shifts into it. So I'm always curious, especially when he put like deities to it. You know, it kind of makes you want to push a little further, but at the same time, like, nah, I don't know. Maybe. I'll hit him up and see what I can learn. Thanks again, Matt, for joining me. If you want to share your story on Oops All Ghosts, we'd love to hear it. It's oopsallghost@gmail.com. Any social media feed like TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that, we'd love to get you live. We got a few episodes coming up on Tuesday. We got, that's usually when we're pumping them out on Spotify and YouTube. So thanks again for watching. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Hitting that like button, the subscribe button really helps the channel grow, the follow. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Specters in the static, the stories unfold. Rob the host digs deep where the night molds.